heavyweight champion boxing in sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. I'm gonna tell you right now. Go ahead. You can hold me to it. Zhilei Zhang is the next big thing in the heavyweight division. I've been watching him, and what got my attention was the size of him. He's from China. He stands almost 6'7", 250 plus pounds, but it's his build. Look at his legs. Look at his upper body. Look at his head. Look at his shoulders. He is massive. Now, as an amateur, he fought Anthony Joshua, and Joshua defeated him. And Zhang, who resides in New Jersey now, speaks pretty good English. He is actually calling for the Anthony Joshua fight. So he has a big fight coming up against Flip Hergovic, which Zhang should, I think Zhang's going to annihilate him. And then Zhang's going to bubble himself up to, bigger and better things. But the problem with him is he just wasn't able to get a lot of big names to fight him. He was sitting around just looking for a fight, and nobody wanted to fight Flip Hergovic either. So that's where Zhang stepped up. And a lot of people are kind of taken back when they realize that, Zhang is 38 years old. So they almost feel like, hey, he's a 38-year-old heavyweight, and, he has, 23 wins, and 1 draw and 18 KOs, no losses, but what has he been doing? Why is he so old? Why did he start so late? Well, he started so late because he's been boxing as an amateur. He was boxing as an amateur, since 2003. He's been fighting for a long, long time, as an amateur. And you look at where he is now. I mean, Eddie Hearn took a chance on him. If Eddie Hearn is really like a risk, it's really like a risk to take him on. Nobody else really wanted to take Zhang on to promote him. But Eddie Hearn felt that, Eddie Hearn's really smart. Eddie Hearn's not going to roll the dice on a guy like Zhang or on anybody if he feels that he can't really market him or he can't make any money. But with Zhang, first of all, he's from China. He's massive. He's a southpaw, and he can crack. And he has an extremely high boxing IQ. You see, when you have that sound amateur pedigree, that gives you an advantage. I mean, the guy won an Olympic silver medal for his home country. He represented China as a super heavyweight, back in gold at the Asian Games and the Asian Championships. And he's been on a lot of other circuits. So when Eddie Hearn looks at a guy like this, he's like, okay, he can fight. He hits extremely hard, and he's a great boxer, counterpuncher, and southpaw. And he got a storyline that he can take and run with as far as him and Anthony Joshua. So they've been very careful on how they're matching him up. But the problem is a lot of people don't want to fight him. And if you watch him, you'll understand why. He has pretty quick hands, but it's his power. It's the power, and it's his IQ. He can catch shots, counterpunch shots, slip, check hook. That sounds stupid, right? Check, hook, and then let go that big left hand. And it doesn't matter what hand he hits you with. When he hits you, like a bomb detonating. I've watched footage on him. I've seen fights with him because he fights on the zone. Matter of fact, him and Flip Hergovic are going to be fighting on the zone. They're the co-feature of the Canelo Bivol bout. So, on May 7th. So make sure that you get your fire stick or, sign up for the zone and check it out. But it is going to be a very, very interesting fight. But Eddie Hearn has a storyline, so I think now that he's matching him up a bit with stiffer competition, I think the goal for Eddie Hearn is to try to get him in line for a shot. Because Eddie Hearn's praying Anthony Joshua beats Usyk in the rematch. And what's happening with Zhang right now is he's in line. He's ranked number 13, so he's kind of lucky to get this fight with Hergovic. but it's an IBF eliminator, and it becomes a mandatory to all those belts that Usyk owns, which Eddie Hearn is hoping AJ gets it. So if Eddie Hearn gets what he wants and AJ wins that fight, then AJ has to sit back and pick an opponent to fight. And it's going to have to be a mandatory because there's so many mandatories when you have 4 belts, you know. So you just have to sit down, Eddie Hearn does his business, and then we'll figure out who AJ's fighting. But I really think that Zhang is the next up. First, it's hard. I'm going to tell you from experience, when I was living in Korea, when I was living in Okinawa, Japan, and I was down at the local gyms fighting. So when you walk in the gyms, first of all, especially in Korea, it's a very homogenous culture. People are very respectful, and when you come into the boxing gym, the culture is different. Guys aren't in there hanging around, loud, talking trash, unprofessional. Man, when those guys are in there training, they are training with the pride, like, of their country, man. And I was in a training in this gym, which was close to where I was living, and there were some young kids who they felt had the potential to go out to the Olympics and represent South Korea. And the kids were like, 11 and 12, but they could fight. And, when they get a chance to be kids, they be in there hitting each other with the damn mitts and playing around, and they want to come to me and try to talk whatever little English words they learned in school. And I would sit there and talk with them. But let me tell you, man, when the coach Kwang Jung Nim will catch them, oh my God, man, he would take those focus mitts, man, and they would stand up with their hands behind their back with their head down, and he would just take it in, bam, the top of their head or in their face, bam. I mean, like 3, 4. I mean, as hard as he could, hit them in the head and the face with it, and they would just bow and say something in Korean. Then the next one would come, he'd do the same thing. And when I first saw that, I was sitting back like, what the hell is going on in here? Like, that's child abuse, man. And he came to me and, he's trying to explain to me, because he didn't speak much English, but he was just saying my name, and he was like, different. America, Korea, different. And I know what he was trying to tell me is, their culture, when it comes to their athletes, especially those that have promise, is different from what we're going to see in the States. And you may hear guys running them out, knowing come and beat you like that. And he wasn't their parents or nothing. He was the coach. But let me tell you, man, different type of discipline out there. And I told him I understood. And I did. I understood. But I just wasn't expecting to see that. So when I be in there, man, and hitting the heavy bag or shadow boxing, jumping the rope, and the little guys are coming over want to talk to me, I be kind of like, man, you better, I be doing my head like, get out of here, because I didn't like seeing that, man. That shit pulled at my heart. But I got used to it after a while, And then after a while, with me, he kind of eased up a little bit because he realized the kids were curious. But anyway, I gave you that big story just to say, the sparring I did over there. You're sparring them guys from Asia, man. You're fighting for your life. And Korea and Okinawa, fighting the Japanese boxers too. And this is sparring, man. They bring guys there like I was the American fighter, you know what I mean? And at the time, I was, working, and then I'd get off and go and train. I wasn't in like fighting shape, And I was probably good for about three rounds, but sparring rounds, not fighting for your life type stuff, Learned that with the quickness. Came down there, man, and got into the sparring match. They had a heavyweight, this Korean guy. He was a heavyweight, and he was some kind of regional champion. Something they were telling me, right? I just know they were saying champion, but amateur. so he probably went and won something locally. But they brought me to the sparring, and I was like, yeah, no problem. But I got set up. So the coach, Kwang Jang Nim, he paid them, and I'm getting way off topic, but I'm gonna give you the story and come back to what I was saying. He was paid to bring me there to spar. So he brought me there as a sacrificial lamb for this guy. So I come in the gym, and everyone is there, and the coach is like telling me, to put on my stuff, and he like dress, and so I knew what that meant. So I go out there, man, get my shoes on, everything. They wrap up my hands, and we get in there, man, and I was watching the energy in that gym, and it was about 60 of us in there. So they bring all the kids there from different gyms, and they would all sit down, and everybody would meet, and they would line them up with kids from other gyms, and they would spar. So you get like 30 matches. It's sparring, but it's like 30 matches. So I was the first one. So I was like, all right, cool, no problem to me, I'm thinking sparring with a friend. You're just working, trying to make each other better. 100% speed, 50% power, Yo. I got in there, man. They were like, yo, the bell went off. I came in there and throwing my jab and boxing. And this guy threw a punch, right? And fortunately, I was fresh. And this man threw a right hand. And I saw him kind of cock back. And I was like, I was watching, and I was watching his face, and I was like, thinking, this is like, yo, what's he about to do? And he threw that punch, and I ducked underneath it. And when I did that, I pushed him and I stepped back. And I can't communicate with no one, but I remember what I was thinking. I was like, oh shit, like this is like America versus Korea in here. Like this is like me, like battle like the DMZ. Like it was. I was like, yo, I gotta kill this guy. So I'm in there, man, and I ain't gonna lie, man. Yo, my heart was racing because I knew I wasn't in great shape, but I was good for a couple rounds. So anyway, I come out there now, and I'm like, okay, my man's trying to knock me out. So I'm like, all right, so I let him have it. Yeah, I let him have it. And he buckled. I caught him I'm right-handed, but I fought southpaw. And he came rushing in, and I threw that straight left, and it stopped him in his track because he just wanted to get at me, So I hit him, pop, and he froze like that, and I came with that right hook, and he buckled. The whole gym, they gasped. Like, it was almost like the country. It was like, I had just killed the country. Did like Bernard Hopkins went and took the flag from Trinidad and threw it on the ground. Like, it was like that kind of energy. And I was like, oh, they about to kill my ass in here now. And he was dazed, but the man had a big head, I know that. And he just kept coming, pressing forward. And at this point, man, I'm letting everything go. Because I'm like, I got to keep this guy off me. So the end of the first round's over, and they applaud, Very respectful. Everyone applauds. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I feel like Van Damme and like, Bloodsport. I'm like, yo, they're about to kill me in here. So the coach is trying to tell me, all he keeps saying is, he's saying upper, like throw the uppercut, right? Like a lead left uppercut at this guy. And I'm tired. So anyway, long story short, getting to the second round, he touches me a few times because I was tired. Because that first round, I had to let everything go. So we got through the second round. I got the best of him still, but it took everything in me to keep that dude off me because, like I said, he was coming, and I was getting more and more tired. He was coming, and I was getting more and more tired. So I got the best of him that round, but I knew I was slowing down. So when I was going back to the corner, this is why I talk about sometimes when you train so hard that your body and your legs start shaking. When I was walking back to the corner, my legs were shaking because I was so fatigued. And the coach was like, on side, trying to get me. He was trying to get me to go back out there and fight. And I was like, nah. I was trying to tell him like, nah, man, that's it, because I realized like, this guy is getting ready for a fight. I'm out here just in the gym messing around. He got me out here to get this guy work, but I'm like, nah, I'm not going out like that. So the third round came, man, and it was more him. He was lunging in, and I was just, slipping his shots, tying him up. Or he was slow, so when he would come in, I hit him with the jab and fall in and tie him up. And he got one shot off on me. I remember he got that one right hand, and I kind of rolled with it, but he caught me. And I was like, all right, enough. And then the fourth round, I didn't go out for that crap because I knew I was tired. But they had set me up. But I say all that to say this: when it comes to fighting those Asian fighters, this thing keeps skipping. But when it comes to fighting those Asian fighters, they're very, very disciplined. They fight for honor. They fight for pride. They fight for their country. And for you to beat them, you're gonna have to damn near kill them. It's almost like what happened with Fury and Wilder in that third fight. That's how it is, and that's just the culture. And those boxing gyms, those guys, they're gonna come at you, and they're gonna fight nonstop. And if you're not in shape, you lose, and you'll probably get knocked out because they're not gonna just take it easy on you unless the coach tells them. It's like having a pit bull that say, sick him or stop or come here or whatever. You gotta be a command to get them off you. But I learned my lesson. But after that, I made sure I stayed in shape. Like I was running the hills and everything. I went from 205 down to 170 in like 2 months. I was running those hills, man. I was running for no kidding, man. Just running for 2 hours straight. I didn't worry about miles. I ran for time, and I was running those hills. And a matter of fact, I was running so much when I was getting ready to do a fitness test. I was running 1.5 miles in 8 minutes and 13 seconds. Some people probably running faster, but that's pretty damn fast. That's the kind of shape I was in. And I never got a chance to go back and spar that guy. But everybody else locally I sparred, I was giving them the business. The coach would tell me no, just go to the body, because anyone came in there after that, I was like, I'm gonna hurt him, because this wasn't. Now if I fought like American guys, we sparred. Nah, man, we could talk and be like, hey, look, we're not trying to kill each other. But when they brought Koreans in, especially when I was in Okinawa sparring over there, nah, I was letting my hands go because they hit you hard. They don't care. So I let mine go too, and I fared a lot better. But when it comes to Zhang, whenever I see these Asian fighters and these other guys, I'm like, I just think they have a little bit more fight in them, and that's just something that's ingrained in them, man, in those gyms. Like, especially when they're fighting someone when they're not fighting their fellow countrymen. I'm telling you, they'll hurt you, and they're not nice. So I think Zhang is the next big thing. Eddie Hearn got him there for a reason, because he can market him. Look at China, how many people there, how much money's over there. Imagine this guy here comes and he clips his next opponent because he's fighting for the eliminator. AJ wins. Somehow they decide to make the fight. If AJ doesn't fight Fury, then they decide to make the fight with him and AJ. They're gonna make him big money. It's gonna probably be held in China, and it's a huge fight. So my thing is, don't sleep on. I got way off on the tangent. I apologize, but give me a little flashback. Do not sleep on this guy right here. I'm telling you, do not sleep on him. He's an excellent fighter, excellent boxer. He got serious power, and I think he's the next big thing. I really do. If he gets past Flip Hergovic, I'm telling you, he's out of here. I really do. I think anyone fighting is gonna have a problem. You're gonna have to shoot him to stop him, because they just fight differently over there. And I'm actually rooting for him, man, because very, very kind people, very polite, very respectful, and we'll see what happens. But Eddie Hearn's not a dummy. He's not gonna go and put money into somebody he feels he can't get a return on. So Eddie Hearn will do his magic and get him some big fights, even if he doesn't get the AJ fight, a Usyk fight, or whatever. Expect to see him, if he wins his next fight, getting bigger and bigger fights. Luis Ortiz will not fight him. Dillian White will not fight him. Watch, people are gonna duck this guy, and he's gonna be sitting around, and it's just gonna be unfortunate because he's that good. But he got a stiff test in front of him when he fights Flip Hergovic. The guy's, man, like I said, strong amateur pedigree, won a lot of medals. different games, different competitions. He's the real deal, but he's up there in age, so we'll see if he gets old overnight. But right now, he's looking good, and glad to see that he's actually able to get some fights before his time runs out. Because Father Time is I don't know how the saying goes, man, but he always wins, right? Anyway, man, you guys keep safe. Thanks for the support. Zhang, next big thing in my opinion. Shout out to all the veterans, and y'all keep safe from in the breeze.